Welcome to another edition of the channel's Mailbag. So what is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is the part of the channel that you guys actually control. It's based on comments, questions, general feedback that you guys leave either on the YouTube channel, the website, or through one of my social media feeds. Mailbag contains what I think the answer is, what I think my view of the comment is, or sometimes, I just throw it out to the wider audience and say, what do you guys think? That's what Mailbag is. So let's get in to the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. This comment question comes from David Bone. And it's in response to the D70 keyboard swap key called T1 Loading Custom Samples, a mailbag that I did in March 2025. And David writes, it would be useful to have a database of what keys fit are cross-compatible with other synths. I have an XP80, which is a Roland keyboard, spare key bed. It's a 76 keys, wondering if it fit my D70. The U20 key bed, I was hoping to repurpose that too, but the weird connection strip on the side. Yeah, I think this is kind of people know what people know. It's actually a damn good idea. The Roland D70 and the Roland U20 had an interesting keyboard key bed design. I'm guessing that because I don't know that they set out to design. Let's face it, they set out to design the Roland U50, is what the D70 morphed from. It was the Roland U50, which was the upgraded version of the Roland U20. So it was going to be a 76 key version of the U20 Roppler. And then they obviously morphed it into what became the Roland D70. And they took a keybed design and additional keys to meet the 76 key requirement of the D70. It took me a long time to track down the Roland D50 and S50 use the same keybed and keys. This helped me move the Roland S50 restoration forward because I was able to therefore pick the old keybed up or pick a D50 keybed up and transplant it into the Roland. So this was and it's kind of a combination when you're looking at this stuff, how they make the keybed into the chassis. By this I mean things like screw points, cable runs, connectors. That means you can't necessarily mount them in another keyboard because the runs aren't long enough without having to sort of expand the cable looms and stuff like that. The connections with the keybed and the circuitry, are they the same connections? Is it doing the same thing? The donor keyboard, the donor keybed has 3 connections. The target keyboard has 2 connections. It's that kind of thing. And basically, the keybed was the wrong size for the space. It just didn't fit in the hole. So there's a whole raft of different sort of combinations. You find something that looks like it's compatible, and then it just doesn't fit in the chassis, in the hole where it's come out of. So there are a lot of keyboards that shares a lot of components. So, for example, this keyboard here, which is the SY77, shares the majority of its keybed components with the SY77 in terms of the white and black keys are exactly the same. In fact, I think they might be actually the same as the DX7, if my memory serves me. But you can't, and if you look at the electronics inside the SY77 and the SY99, you realise the actual way the keybed is made up is very similar, apart from the fact that's A76 and the SY77 is a 61. So you can't cross-fertilise the actual circuitry, but a lot of the components, springs, keys, mounting points, that sort of stuff will cross-fertilise between the two. Next comment or question comes from Tigrasi. And this was in response to the BX1, the mashup synth you didn't know you needed, a SMR I did in March 2025. And he writes, I'm surprised that anyone supports Behringer. In my experience, they are unethical, ruthless, and of the lowest quality and reliability I've ever experienced. I do not support their fanboys either, for a long list of reasons. Supporting them is idiotic. And all I can say is that Behringer drive opinion. They drive opinion because A, they make synths that other manufacturers refuse to go back and look at again. Roland kind of made that mistake with a lot of the stuff. The boutique stuff came out, which was kind of Roland's digital upgrade to the original synthesizers. They've made VSTs of the original synthesizers, but they haven't gone back and really attacked the original hardware. Whereas where people have been screaming out for the original hardware and can no longer afford the original hardware, purely because, you know, back when these machines were made, people didn't have the money to go and buy them, and they didn't make them in sufficient quantities that they are readily available in the market nowadays. So you've got someone like Behringer, for argument's sake, and am I a fanboy? I'm not going to say yes or no because I don't think I really am. I buy instruments that allow me to make music. If that means it's a Behringer synth, I buy a Behringer synth. If it means I need to go and source an old Roland synth, I go and source an old Roland synth. That's probably the way I put it. I do think what Behringer are doing is shaking up the market. I do think they're upsetting a lot of people. Yes. Do I think they're upsetting a lot of musicians? No, I think they're upsetting musicians that have the legacy equipment, and they're now looking at values of those legacy instruments plateau a bit because you can now buy a Behringer equivalent. But do they drive opinion? Of course they do. I think that's the whole operating model that Yuri is driving at the moment, is make it cheap, make it accessible, make it usable.